Good morning. Good morning. If you're tuning in, I want you just to close your eyes and not try to fall asleep, but to just close your eyes for a second and take a good deep breath. Take a deep breath and feel into your heart. Feel into your heart space and hear what your heart has to say this morning. Hear what is that message? Can you hear it? Let's do it. Just close your eyes for a second with me and feel into your heart. Breathe deep into that space. Can you even tap into that space without all the mental chatter that's going on? Without the thoughts of, I've got to get going this morning, I've got to do this, I've got to do that. Do you hear those repetitive thoughts, or can you actually slow down enough and hear your heartbeat? Feel what you're feeling this morning. Feel yourself at that level. I titled this morning's Conscious Coffee, the music might be playing, but what is it saying? And one of the most important things that we can develop in life is the skill of listening. The skill of listening is vitally important to our success in every part of our life. It's, there's two different kinds of listening. There's the natural listening, like you might be listening to me right now, or you might be thinking about getting off and going on your day and just have me rambling in the background. And then there is spiritual listening to the voice of God, to the voice of the Creator, which is why I had to try to tap into your heart, because that's the spring where that voice comes from. That's a space that we can go into and access that particular voice. It's been said that humankind was born with 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we could listen twice as much as we talk. All great leaders, all great game changers, visionaries, master teachers for all time were far better listeners than they were speakers. They understood the power of tapping into not just listening to the people that they were trying to help or move, but also tapping into that ability to listen to God, ability to tap into their heart and to experience what's actually being said in those moments. They could hear the music and they could hear what it was saying. A reason why this is really important is because the more we learn to listen to others, the more we will actually be given than what we can ever give in our need to share, our need to speak, our need to communicate and feel understood. We'll learn more about life, we'll learn more about situations, we will gain messages through others because God is always speaking to us. So God uses others to speak to us. And if you're constantly talking or not actively listening, but listening to answer, then you're going to miss all the opportunity to receive the messages that are there. So once again, I want you to close your eyes right now with me. Take that good deep breath. Just take that breath. And as you let it out, notice if you're trying to force the thinking, if you're trying to force the feeling into your heart. Or can you just feel the emotion in your heart space Or are you just still getting bombarded by thought? Where are you at? How easy is it for you to tap into that space? Can you have a conscious thought? Which means, can you create your thoughts and focus in and hold that thought? Can you tell yourself that today is going to be an amazing day? That without a doubt you know that something amazing is going to happen today to you. Focus in on that thought right there. Give yourself permission to feel that thought. Give yourself permission to really, really connect to it. Can you consciously think that thought without having a whole bunch of other thoughts just going poof, 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 shooting in there and trying to derail what you're trying to create, which is a fantastic day. As you're thinking that thought, what else is coming in? Are they thoughts of worry, thoughts of concern, thoughts of what time is it? Or are they thoughts of joy, thoughts of happiness? What are the feelings, the sensations in your body? Pay attention to all of that. Regarding spiritual listening, Proverbs chapter 8, verse 34-35 quotes wisdom, who says, "Blessed is the man who listens to me, watching daily at the doors, waiting at my doorway. For whoever finds me finds life and receives favor." That message is truly about the fact that, like I started this with, right? Everything that we can, the more we can listen, the more we are actually given than what we give. So there is so much wisdom in listening, and spiritual listening, which is listening to the voice of God, listening to that connecting peace in our heart, which is not the chaos of the mind, which is not the ego. That's where wisdom can come from. That's where our guidance and direction can come from. So we can hear the music playing, but do we actually listen and can hear what the song is saying? That song is what we need to really tap into. It's the guiding force. It's kind of like the roadmap. Everybody's always looking for themselves or looking for the next best step, when it's always right there in front of us. It's actually not even in front of us, it's within us. Listening is a skill that allows us to see the next step, to feel the next step, and to take that step in certainty. So again, close your eyes for a moment. Take a good deep breath. Breathe. Breathe into that heart space. Don't focus on the thoughts. Focus on the sensation. Focus on what you're feeling. Try not attaching to any of it. Just watch it as though it is a flowing river in front of you. Just watch and listen. What is it saying? In Proverbs chapter 15, verse 31, He who listens to a life-giving rebuke will be at home among the wise. Without the skill developed on listening, without focusing in on the skill of listening, we have an unteachable heart. We cannot follow very well. We constantly think that we know more than what God knows. We know the best path, and we think from the logical mind perspective instead of from the perspective of God and that opening up. So listening allows us to maintain in a teachable spirit. It allows us to increase our teachability, to grow it. One of the most important things in life is our teachability. And who are we listening to? All great leaders and teachers will say, who are you listening to? Who are you listening to? Are you teachable? Are you coachable? I ask people that all the time. Are you coachable? And everybody says, oh, yeah. But then they're very quick to tell me what they think is the next best step. To figure out a way to do something other than what they're being told to do, suggested to do, from somebody who has potentially experienced what they've experienced, who can see the path before them a heck of a lot easier than them. Know who your teacher is, know who you're listening to. And in spiritual teaching and opening up to that spiritual listening, are you teachable? Or are you calloused and shut down? Are you quick to say, yeah, but? Or that's not possible because that's not logical. Well, I can't see the evidence. The proof in front of me said something different. What about what's happening right now? All those are statements of a non-teachable heart space. Looking for what is logical right in front of wanting not to hear, wanting not to listen. Not truly wanting to find that next step, but to remain on the step that you're on. So how teachable are you? And can you listen to that heart space? Do you have spiritual listening? Are you a good active listener to the messages that are coming from other people, from other sources? We tend to listen passively in our life. We listen passively to our spouses, to our children, to our colleagues, to our bosses, to our friends, our parents, our siblings, our pastors. We're just kind of showing up. Here I am. That should be good enough. You see me, I'm physically present. And in your mind, it's passive listening. You catch a little bit here and you catch a little bit there. Now thinking about other things. Often with the people close to us, we're thinking about what our response is going to be instead of actually what is going on and what they're saying. So we miss the connection. We miss the ability to really truly hear and to give that space, that very sacred space of listening, so that the person that we're listening to actually feels heard, feels seen. Our presence in that moment. And where's your presence at moment by moment? Ask yourself that today. Am I being present? Am I being an active listener? Or am I being a passive listener? If we're a passive listener with God, then we're actually resisting hearing completely. And we actually develop, I used the word callous already, so I'm going to stick with that. We develop a callousness. We develop this hardness, this inability to hear, this inability to actually listen with fine tuning, which means focus, presence. And the more we resist listening to that voice, the more hardened and less fine-tuned our hearing actually becomes, which means our wisdom, our ability to have direction, to have guidance, to know that next best step. We can't hear it. We have no wisdom. What we have is we have stubbornness. We have ego. We have that 2-year-old little tantrum of, but I know. That's not listening. How is your willingness to hear from your heart spring today? Are you truly willing to learn? Would you consider yourself teachable, coachable? From those in your life, from the messengers that show up, from the voice of God that resides inside of you, that is constantly leading you. How's your teachability? How's your listening skills? How fine-tuned are they? In Luke chapter 8, verse 15, this passage relates to the parable of the sower. The seed on good soil stands for those with a noble and good heart who hear the word, retain it, and by persevering produce a crop. The message here is that having a good harvest, living a life of abundance, living that freedom-based, fuck yes life that I talk about, it's not just about perseverance and going and doing and making happen and constantly acting on things, but to also, and also good seed and good soil, because you have to have a good seed and you have to have good soil, right? But also those who can listen, who can hear the word of God, which means tapping into that heart spring again, because listening to that guidance, guess what? Most of the seeds that we talk about come from here. They're not physical seeds. Inspired action comes from inspired thought, comes from inspired listening, the ability to hear. If you want a good seed and you want to know the good soil to put it in, and you want to know the good actions to take to reap the final harvest, you have to be able to listen. You have to be able to listen. So, again, I want you to close your eyes. Breathe with me. And tap into your heart. Ask your heart what today's message is. What is the message that you need to walk away with today before you get into the car and you drive? Maybe you're listening to this in the middle of the day tonight, another day than when it's even recorded. Wherever you're at in life, take that pause, close your eyes, breathe into your heart, and ask for what the message is. Realize that it's going to take a little bit of practice. It's going to take practice because the ego, I see that Lori has shared here. Yes, the mean voice, the ego, definitely wants to creep in some mornings. So many of us wake up and the instant thoughts are worry, concern, beating ourselves up. And we get into such a haste We want to move so quickly. We want to just jump out of bed and get going with this day that we're not even happy about waking up to most of the time. I encourage you to end your day with a prayer of gratitude. I encourage you to start your day before your feet touch the floor with another prayer of gratitude. If you use gratitude as bookmarks on your day is going to change. Your ability to hear first thing in the morning, to listen, to tap in, will open up more. You'll have a better night's sleep. You'll have better dreams. And I'll help you to hear, to truly hear, not just passive hear. I hope that this message was helpful this Monday morning. I know how tough it is for so many people to get started in the week, how many people dread Monday mornings. I'm among the lucky few. I don't dread any morning. And I hope that this was helpful. I hope that this got you thinking. I hope I provided some lesson to get you more in touch with the divine, beautiful you that you are, with that life of abundance that I know that you want to have. I wish you a wonderful, wonderful day, a beautiful week. And if it's in your heart, if I touched you in any way with this message, if you got anything out of it, please hit the little share button at the bottom so that you can help others get the message as well. Thank you for your comments. Feel free to leave more here. Things that you do to tap in, to hear, to notice, those are all appreciated too. Help the community of people that are working on themselves, that want to have an abundant life, that want to really truly hear and listen. Love you guys, and I'll catch you tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. ish.